This season has been one wild ride.
The Minnesota Vikings have completed the greatest comeback in the history.
Lock this down as one of the craziest weeks ever of football. But before we dive into the latest edition of the Power Rankings, we'd like to wish all our viewers a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. With that being said, let's now get into it. Number 32, Houston Texans. Last time's ranking, 32. The Texans played their hearts out and nearly upset Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs at home, but the visitors prevailed in overtime to avoid the biggest upset of the 2022 season. We're sure Texans fans are tired of hearing this, but these losses are not such a bad thing. Number 31, Chicago Bears. Last time's ranking, 31. That is now 7 straight losses for the Bears, for those keeping count at home. The main culprit is the defense, which has given up at least 25 points in each of those defeats. Man, Jalen Carter or Will Anderson cannot join this defense soon enough. Number 30, Indianapolis Colts. Last time's ranking, 28. Seriously, unbelievable. The Colts choked away a 33-0 second-half lead to the Minnesota Vikings and lost in overtime. That marked the biggest single-game comeback in NFL history, surpassing the Bills' 32-point comeback against the Houston Oilers in the 1992 AFC wildcard round. Well, so much for Jeff Saturday getting that full-time job. Number 29, Arizona Cardinals. Last time's ranking, 27. Arizona has now dropped 6 of its last 7 games, the latest being a 24-15 defeat against a Denver Broncos team that was down to backup Brett Rypien. Not ideal for a team that extended its head coach and GM to extensions through 2027. Number 28, Denver Broncos. Last time's ranking, 30. Well, would you look at that? The Broncos beat the equally hapless Cardinals, meaning that the Seahawks may not get that top 3 pick in 2023 after all. You gotta celebrate those small victories, Broncos fans. Up next is a trip to Los Angeles to take on the Rams in a game between 2 terrible teams who don't even own their first-round draft picks next year. Number 27, New Orleans Saints. Last time's ranking, 29. The Saints narrowly held on for a tight win over the arch-rival Atlanta Falcons to keep their very small playoff hopes alive. New Orleans will now have to win out and get some help if they're to win the hapless NFC South. But hey, anything is possible, especially when it comes to that division. Number 26, Los Angeles Rams. Last time's ranking, 26. Coming off their Week 14 miracle, expectations were probably a little overinflated for Baker Mayfield and company. In reality though, these Rams were always going to have a tough time in those frigid Lambeau conditions against a desperate Packers team. At this point, it's simply a matter of making it through the rest of the season and figuring out how they're going to improve in 2023 without their first-round pick. Number 25, Atlanta Falcons. Last time's ranking, 23. Just a brutal way for the Falcons to lose in Desmond Ridder's first NFL start. Drake London had a huge 4th down catch in New Orleans territory, only to fumble it away into the hands of Bradley Roby. The good news is, the Panthers and Buccaneers also lost, so the Falcons, even at 5-9, are also very much alive in the race for what may be the worst division in NFL history. Number 24, Carolina Panthers. Last time's ranking, 19. The Panthers squandered a major opportunity by losing at home to the Kenny Pickett-less Pittsburgh Steelers. Carolina still just has to win out to snag the division. Don't count them out quite yet. Number 23, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time's ranking, 25. Pittsburgh's win over Carolina keeps the streak alive. At 6-8, the Steelers just need 2 more wins and a tie, or hey, 3 wins, to ensure that they don't suffer their first losing season since 2003. Up next, the Steelers will try to keep the streak alive when they play the Las Vegas Raiders at home. Number 22, Cleveland Browns. Last time's ranking, 24. The Browns won an ugly defensive slugfest against Tyler Huntley and the Baltimore Ravens, keeping their oh-so-slim playoff hopes alive. Nick Chubb once again bailed out Deshaun Watson in the passing game, which looks a lot less potent since Jacoby Brissett was replaced. Number 21, Las Vegas Raiders. Last time's ranking, 22. I guess after all those heartbreaking losses earlier in the season, the Raiders were due for one of the luckiest wins in NFL history. Josh McDaniels scored a win over old Jedi Master Bill Belichick thanks to the Patriots' failed lateral play in the waning seconds. How fitting that Chandler Jones was the one to score the game-winning touchdown against his former team to spoil their playoff hopes. Number 20, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time's ranking, 18. Was Sunday rock bottom for the Buccaneers? Tampa is now 6-8, marking the most losses Brady has ever suffered in a single regular season. Number 19, Jacksonville Jaguars. Last time's ranking, 21. The Jaguars trailed the Dallas Cowboys by 17 points, but rallied for an improbable win in overtime thanks to Rayshon Jenkins' 52-yard pick six off of Dak Prescott. The Jaguars, folks, are 3 wins away from winning the AFC South. Wild. Number 18, New England Patriots. Last time's ranking, 16. The last time the Patriots lost on a last-second miracle play, the Miami Miracle in 2018, they went on to win the Super Bowl. But it's practically impossible to think Bill Belichick's 2022 squad is cut out for such a run this year. Number 17, Green Bay Packers. Last time's ranking, 20. Don't count these Packers out just yet. With their win over the Rams on Monday night, Green Bay is now just 1.5 games out of the final wildcard spot. They have a few teams to leapfrog, but hey, anything can happen. If the Packers can just win out from here, they'll at least give themselves a chance. They just have to take it one game at a time, beginning with a Christmas Day battle against the Dolphins. Number 16, New York Jets. Last time's ranking, 14. The Jets have now lost 3 straight and 4 of their last 5. They're on the outside looking in when it comes to the AFC postseason race, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Like the Patriots, the Jets are going to have to win out if there's any hope of making the playoffs. And with Wilson under center, well, it's hard to like their chances. Number 15, Tennessee Titans. Last time's ranking, 12. The Titans have now lost 4 straight games, and a division title that was seemingly locked up weeks ago is no longer a sure thing. Is it time to hit the panic button in Music City? This team has to host Dallas in Week 17 before going to Jacksonville in Week 18 for a game that could very well decide the division. Number 14, Seattle Seahawks. Last time's ranking, 13. Like the Titans and Jets, the Seahawks are collapsing late in the season and are suddenly in danger of missing the playoffs. Their Week 15 loss to the San Francisco 49ers officially ended any hope of winning the NFC West. With a visit to KC next on the schedule, it's certainly looking more and more likely that Seattle will miss the playoffs in consecutive years for the first time in the Pete Carroll, John Schneider era. Number 13, Washington Commanders. Last time's ranking, 10. The Commanders lost a pivotal NFC East showdown to the New York Giants in primetime, and it wasn't without controversy. Officials missed a blatant PI call on Washington's final drive, which would have given them a fresh set of downs. It's a tough loss for the Commanders to stomach, and a visit to San Francisco in Week 16 isn't exactly something to look forward to. Number 12, Detroit Lions. Last time's ranking, 17. Following a 1-6 start to the season, the Lions have rallied by winning 6 of their last 7. And get this, Lions fans, your final 3 games are against teams with losing records. Is it a stretch to say Dan Campbell will lock up the Coach of the Year award if he guides Detroit to the playoffs? Because this second half surge is truly one of the unlikeliest feel-good stories in recent NFL memory. Number 11, New York Giants. Last time's ranking, 15. The Giants barely hung on for a season-saving victory at FedEx Field to keep their playoff hopes very much alive. Beating Washington was a double whammy, and the Seahawks' loss to San Fran was an extra cherry on top for Brian Daboll's squad. Whatever happens from here on out, the Giants officially clinched their first non-losing season since 2016. Number 10, Miami Dolphins. Last time's ranking, 9. Miami dropped a heartbreaker to the Buffalo Bills on Saturday, but the good news is that the Jets and Patriots also lost in Week 15. So the Finns still control their own destiny for a playoff berth, with Week 17 and 18 showdowns against the Pats and Jets respectively. But first, the Dolphins will try to end a 3-game losing skid when they welcome Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on Christmas Day. Number 9, Los Angeles Chargers. Last time's ranking, 11. The path is there for the Chargers to lock down a playoff berth. Sunday's win over Tennessee moved them to 8-6 on the year. Their final 3 opponents are the Colts, Rams, and Broncos, 3 of football's absolute worst teams. Okay, we know it's the Chargers, but there's no way they blow this and miss out on the postseason, right?
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Number 8, Baltimore Ravens. Last time's ranking, 7. The Ravens were in tough on the road with a backup quarterback under center, but that loss to the Browns is still a tough one to stomach. The Bengals win over Tampa dropped Baltimore from first in the AFC North, but they still hold the top wildcard spot. Now it'll be a question of whether they can hold on to it as they await the return of Lamar Jackson. Number 7. Dallas Cowboys. Last time's ranking, 3. The Cowboys blew a 17-point lead at Jacksonville and cost themselves any remaining hope of catching Philly in the NFC East. Dallas now has to stay focused on holding off the G-Men for the top wildcard spot, since it would guarantee them a favorable matchup against the winner of the pathetic NFC South. Number 6. Minnesota Vikings. Last time's ranking, 8. It's tough to label the Vikings as a bona fide Super Bowl contender. They keep playing with fire, but keep finding ways to pull through tough wins. For now, the Gopher State can celebrate the biggest comeback in NFL history. Absolutely incredible stuff by Kevin O'Connell's squad. But as much as we want to praise Minnie for this win, we also can't help but ask ourselves how the Colts let it happen. Number 5. Kansas City Chiefs. Last time's ranking, 6. 1 week after barely avoiding a humiliating loss to Denver, the Chiefs narrowly defeated the NFL's worst team, the Texans, in overtime. A win is a win, yes, but these Chiefs really don't look as scary as they have in previous years. Number 4. San Francisco 49ers. Last time's ranking, 5. Just another statement win for Kyle Shanahan's 49ers, who locked down the NFC West with a Thursday night win in Seattle. Brock Purdy proved that the blowout win over Tom Brady in Tampa Bay 4 days earlier was no fluke. Now we just see if the 49ers can catch Minnesota for the NFC's number 2 seed. Number 3. Cincinnati Bengals. Last time's ranking, 4. Note to NFL teams, stop building up 3-score leads against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, because they always seem to come back from them. 4 second-half touchdown passes from Joe Cool rallied Cincy to a 34-23 win, and now they control their own destiny in the AFC North. Number 2. Buffalo Bills. Last time's ranking, 2. Late heroics from Josh Allen and Tyler Bass helped Buffalo narrowly escape with a close win over Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins on Saturday night. The Bills still control their own destiny for the division crown and the AFC's top seed. The Bears are next on the schedule, so Buffalo should lock down win number 12 on Christmas Eve before traveling to Cincinnati for the highly anticipated showdown with the Bengals. Number 1. Philadelphia Eagles. Last time's ranking, 1. It was closer than they would have liked, but the Eagles just barely held on for a 25-20 win over the Bears at Soldier Field. The Eagles will soon lock up the NFC's top seed, meaning that they can rest their starters against the Giants in Week 18. And if they keep this up, they can lock up the top spot in our power rankings for the rest of the season as well. But who do you think is the team to beat in the NFL with 3 weeks to go? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.